Just over here waiting. Just waiting for Pre to make her entrance. She's out there busy. She's lighting shit on fire in our home. She's crazy. She's lighting. Look at her. Just lighting shit on fire. She's like Garrett Hedlund lighting money on fire. Except it's not money, it's incense. She's running around. She's just outside the studio. I call it the studio. Don't trip over the wires. In the studio space.
Yeah, dog. What's up?
You got to talk directly into that mic more.
It's been the low ceiling. Hey, you?
Hey, what's up?
Oh my god, I'm so jacked.
Jacked to the tits?
Jacked to the triple frontier tits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing this movie in celebration of my most anticipated film of the year. Kraven the Hunter.
Kraven the Hunter.
Not really,
No,
but
man.
It does look good. And
Kraven the Hunter looks good to you?
It looks good to me, yeah.
To
And I'm not normally a guy who's like, hey, crappy movies look good, but this one looks pretty good.
Is it really just because of the song and man comes around?
It's got a great trailer. It has a great trailer. I love it. I think it's awesome. It's going to be rated R. JC Chandor is a fantastic director.
Gorgeous.
But a couple things more importantly. You have a heart out because you're an important person, so we got to get down to business.
Critical.
How you doing? No, just kidding. No, moving on. Great. You look fine. Awesome. We watched a couple films.
Yes, sir.
A couple cinemas. Rebel Ridge, which very much is like this movie in my opinion, except better.
What a surprise.
What a good movie, right?
For Netflix?
Yeah.
Knocked it out of the fucking park.
Netflix is usually like, hey, come look in this cup. And you're like, what's in it? And they're like, come on, just look in the cup. And you're like, it's diarrhea. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, okay. You fooled me this time, Netflix. But
yeah.
And then this time they were like, look in this cup. And you're like, what is it? And they were like, it's in a lovely drink of scotch. In the film Rebel Ridge.
It really
was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Also, weirdly, just maybe not in my radar, not in my feed. Didn't even know that it existed until you told me about it.
We were late to the party too. It came out in late summer, I think. So
wow.
I've been meaning to watch it, and but we saw movies at the cinema. We saw Blitz, which, and if I could quote you on this, as you walked out, you were like, "That sucks shit."
I'm sorry, shits. Schlitz. It was look.
Yeah.
The trailer. I was like, it's not gonna be good.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, but I'll allow you to talk as a man allowing a woman to speak her mind.
Thank you.
Yeah. And a person of color, no big deal.
Now that we made it to 2024.
I'm kind of a cool guy that way. Yeah.
It's a strange new world out there, so I don't know what to expect anymore. But Blitz, when we saw the trailer, I thought, oh, this looks bad and boring.
Mm-hmm. But
then I saw at the end, it was like, Steve McQueen.
One of the great artists of our time.
And I was like, okay, we have to watch it. We have to watch it because we've never not watched a Steve McQueen joint.
McQueen has never made a bad movie either.
Never disappointed.
Yeah.
Scripts are always tight. I thought maybe it's just a bad trailer because you've said that often. They don't have control over trailers. They cut it together however the company that does the trailer finds it fit. Yeah. They did a good job because that movie sucked, man.
Yeah,
I think the
you
trailer
were not
might
a
have
big
been the
fan
best
of it.
part of it.
I didn't think it was that good, but I didn't hate it. I thought there was lots of elements that were good about it. Do you want to hear my big thing? I have two big thoughts about it.
Yeah.
The kid was fine, but when you have a movie called Blitz, I'm kind of like, no, I just want to see people shooting guns in the sky.
I want to see
flying
the Krieg.
Planes, blowing things up. I want to see chaos. And it's interesting that he chose to make this story as the story about Blitz, which is admirable that it's at an attempt. I just didn't think it was the right story for that film, and I was disappointed in that, even though it's not like I could have expected, like, hey, Steve McQueen, why didn't you make a whole different film just for me? Like, I respect that he wanted to tell this story, and that's fine. I think that what really struck me about it was it felt like that movie needs like another year of stew.
Yeah, collectively, you only get about 3 minutes of Blitz.
It had all these disparate elements that it was trying to pull together, and it didn't pull them together. And I was like, I think it needs to be there needs to be more time for them to find like a cohesive story to tell.
Yeah, this felt like a Spielberg joint.
But it did feel like to me, and I don't want to, I mean, it is kind of on Steve McQueen, but also like with Apple, being an Apple TV Plus film, I'm kind of like, now, I said this to a friend. I was like, I'm sure that Mr. Apple, the head of film production, would dispute what I'm about to say. But from a viewing perspective, I'm kind of like, Apple doesn't seem to care because they make money off of phones. And
no matter what.
And I'm kind of like, sometimes when you get those bad Apple films, you're kind of like, they're just, hey, get a big filmmaker, put them in the director's chair, let them do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But when the movie has like more of the pressure of being from a traditional studio, it does seem as if those producers are better at being like, all right, let's fix some of these problems and not just let the director do whatever they want.
Oh, yeah.
And not like sometimes it works out. Like obviously Killers of the Flower Moon, I thought was a very good movie. But it was, I do believe that was Scorsese getting to do whatever he wanted. It just happened to work at that time. And this one doesn't work. Although maybe, it's a film about how selfless acts in times of trouble can lead to positive outcomes. And maybe that's actually what we need. And you're the bad person for thinking it's bad.
There was not enough death in it. Everyone just turned out great in the end. It's like, is it really the Blitz, or are we just in a fucking Disney?
Yeah, like
come on.
From what I can tell, the actual events of the Blitz, only 3 people died. So why do the Brits always fucking yammer on about it?
What's the Blitz deal about it?
They're always like Blitz, 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 Blitz. That's exactly my impression of a British person. They're like, in it, Blitz. That's exactly what they do.
It's blitzing it.
It's blitzing in it. And then, more importantly, though, we saw Anora, which was fucking great. Just
holy
hands down.
Shit. Movie of the year, baby.
Awesome.
Movie of the
awesome
year.
Fucking movie.
So
way
good.
better than Blitz. They had more Nazi planes bombing in Anora than they did in Blitz, to be perfectly honest.
They blitzed hard in that film.
There's a lot of blitzing in Anora.
Hell yeah.
But we're not here to talk about that. That's just our recent viewing pleasures.
Indeed.
But we're here to talk about Triple Frontier.
We're talking dad core cinema, baby.
Yeah, and just, I went for a big long run today, and as a high performance athlete, much like these guys in this film, I feel a lot like they did hauling 50 bags of money over the Andes.
Oh, yeah.
So I can really relate.
Every time you leave the house, you're like, to be Oscar Isaac's shoulders.
Yeah, and I am going to
weight.
preface everything I say in this with, as a high performance athlete, I feel this way about this thing. So just so you guys know.
You can relate.
Yeah. No, yeah, I can relate. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
This movie has every divorced dad who loves wearing belt over jeans.
Yeah.
It's got, jeans tucked into boots, energy for a lot of it.
This is an awesome movie. I absolutely love this movie. However, on this rewatch, and I've seen it many times because it's a real cold drink of water, I've come to some stark conclusions about it more so than I used to. Yeah.
Do you think the 70% rating is justified?
Yeah.
Now it feels like...
But the movie starts off as like a 9 out of 10.
I'll tell you why. At some point, it started off as Sicario-esque.
Yeah.
And then it switched to Narcos, and then it fucking hit rock bottom at Lone Survivor Mark Wahlberg.
A little bit. As soon as they leave the village after they crash the helicopter, the film drops in quality.
It's gone.
And I will say, I have read the original screenplay for this film, originally written by Mark Bull. So this movie was going to be a Catherine Bigelow joint.
Oh, a Hurt Locker joint.
Yeah, Mark Bull, who wrote The Hurt Locker, who also wrote Zero Dark 30. Catherine Bigelow was going to pick up Mark Bull's next script and be like, hey, I want to do this one. This looks cool. And I mean, the obvious choices, who are the obvious choices to play the main leads? Is it Tom Hanks and Johnny Depp? Obviously, that's who you would choose. You would choose Tom fucking Hanks and Johnny fucking Depp. Granted, this was in 2012. So, okay, but whatever. They were going to be that in that. It all fell through. Catherine Bigelow was like, no, I'd rather go on and make an incredible film called Zero Dark 30, which I love.
Yeah.
I know it's a big propaganda lie, but it's a great fucking movie if you just this is amazing.
Chris Pratt's best work so far.
But you do feel a lot of Mark Bull in this film. Like Mark
At
Bowles'
least in the
Zero
first
Dark
half.
30. Yeah. And what I'm getting at with the script was that this is a rare film where I think the end should be longer. They needed more time, and the original script is much longer. And they go through more, and they have more moments of like time together instead of like they literally fall off a mountain and then fall into the ocean, which is what happens in the film.
They cover every mode of transport in this film. I don't know how much more they could do to drag these dudes out.
That is the frontier they're talking about. Yeah.
All three, baby.
Yeah.
They got them. I feel like it needs more moments of silence.
Yeah.
Of conversation, of like dude broing a little bit, of like masculine bonding.
I mean, there's quite a bit. It's a very masculine film.
You only get it at moments of grief. There's never like a joyful... It's like always at the bottom of like a stressful moment or a death.
But that's the thing, is that they're trained to be on the ball at all times.
Right.
And this movie pushes them to that limit, basically. My thing that I wrote down about this film was that like this movie is about a bunch of guys who are conflicted about the thing they've dedicated their life to, which is like being in special forces or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're all like conflicted about the fact that they're violent men, and then they go to find out how much worse they can be.
And they only go to find out because Oscar Isaac's like, yo, did you get my text? Did you get it? Did you read the note I sent you? It's so sweet.
So you want $5 million, but like,
why aren't you replying in the group chat?
It is such a strong film to start, and then the thing that I kind of reckoned with this time around was like, the ending is quite dull. God damn, is it a good fucking movie? Otherwise.
Hey, it's got a chokehold on every member of Fleetwood Mac.
It's got Metallica, it's got Fleetwood Mac, it's got Charlie Hunnam choking a guy in a Publix parking lot or whatever.
2 Charlie Hunnams for the price of one.
The people who decided that Charlie Hunnam and Garrett Hedlund looked like brothers were like, oh wow, how had no one ever seen that before? Yeah, isn't it so bizarre too when like I like Garrett Hedlund in this movie, even though he's like he's a bit much.
Yeah,
but it's so funny that I never remember this, but Oscar Isaac and Garrett Hedlund were in the Coen Brothers movie together, Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh my God.
And Garrett Hedlund plays that like quiet poet smoking driver guy, and he never really talks. And he's like the complete opposite in this film.
Of this character. Yeah.
So Bigelow is going to make this movie. She drops out. She does Zero Dark 30. I don't have who was like attached to direct, but Channing Tatum and Tom Hardy were originally going to come in and play roles, and now you're getting closer to like what this movie is all about.
Yeah,
they also drop out, and eventually JC Chandor takes this over.
Okay,
and they cast the hulkiest men of the moment, basically, and Ben Affleck.
They got the dreamboats and Ben Affleck in there. Yo,
they have the fireman's calendar with Ben Affleck, and and they're like, Ben, I know you're pretty sad. Could you be even sadder? And he's like, absolutely.
Dude, he fucking kills it in this though, man.
It's fantastic.
I think this might be my favorite thing he's done.
Really?
Honestly, more than Batman, more than... Well, look, he's good in like early day Good Will Hunting
I want to
stuff.
just stop you there and say no one's favorite Ben Affleck is Batman.
Yeah,
so,
fair enough. Fair enough.
That's not a great comparison. But what about Gone Girl?
He's not sad enough in Gone Girl.
Are you fucking out of your mind? That's the craziest thing you've said all day.
He feels like true sad Ben Affleck, the meme in this movie.
Yes.
Every step he takes, he gets more and more bluer, and it's just like...
It also coincided with like a time in his life when he was like sad Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And so
it just feels like we're watching just everyday Ben Affleck. I feel like it's too private and an inclusion.
Yeah, this is the beginning of him. This is the proto version of him in that basketball movie, The Way Back, which I've said before is like a fucking awesome film. But it's like Ben Affleck is a former almost pro basketball player who goes to coach at his old high school, and he's an alcoholic. And it's like just such a fucking good film.
Oh shit.
And you're just like, yeah, he's just sad.
He's just
sad, but there's redemption in basketball.
Damn.
Yeah, kind of. It's Coach Carter-esque in that, except Coach Carter is...
But there's no redemption for him in this. He just stays sad.
Unless you count death as a redemption.
And spoiler, dies sad. Yeah.
One thing I love about this movie, multiple things I love about this movie. A, I really like the competence porn aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
That they're like, we're guys who are really good at this awful thing, which is killing. But we're really good at planning a heist. We're going to plan a heist. And at no point, unlike most heist movies, you know, when they're just like, oh yeah, I invited Steve, and Steve's like a psychopath. And they're just like, he seems a little off. Is he going to ruin everything for us? It's like, no, yeah, I can trust Steve. I met him in the can. And it's like, and then Steve fucking ruins everything.
Yeah.
Garrett Hedlund sort of has that energy.
Yeah.
But they don't have that cliche in this film.
Yes.
And then when it arrives, Ben Affleck turns out to be that guy.
Holy
Even though
shit.
Ben Affleck is every time when Oscar Isaac is getting the band together, they're all like, if you get Red Fly to do it, Ben Affleck's character, I'll do it. And then it turns out he's the problem.
He's the problem. And what a like really clever way to make Ben Affleck crack. You never see that character flaw coming. Yeah. And in my opinion, like that money stealing scene is the best fucking thing in this entire film.
It's great.
It is so stressful.
You know what I also love too, speaking of the cliches, Pedro Pascal, he comes across as like this cocaine addict fuck up.
Yeah.
Turns out he's the most competent one.
So grounded.
He's like the one who's like, we got to get the fuck out of here. And like, hey, I know that this helicopter won't get over the Andes, and like all this kind of shit.
Throw
like
the money,
he turns
throw
out
the
to
money
be
away.
like one of the more the ones where you're like, oh, Pedro Pascal is the audience who's like Ben, you're fucking up it
God
all up for
damn
everyone.
It.
Yeah.
So good. You get to see every character's personality so much more as the film grows.
Yeah.
And I mean, even within the first 15 minutes, the first hour is just them sorting out the heist, and that's not even the most important part of the film.
It's one of the most exciting though.
It's
like I
so
love it.
quick
Yeah.
how fast they like get in there, get the money, get out, and you're like, oh shit, did they just fucking get away with this whole thing?
Yeah.
And they basically do.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything that goes wrong is just their own greed and their own fucking misgivings.
And also what I love about it, another aspect that I further love about it is like the movie isn't about like, hey, what if people chased after you with guns? It's like, what if this money was super heavy?
Yeah. That's it.
Because like
logistics.
You see so many films. Like I think I said this while we were watching it. I was like, isn't it in Ocean's 11 that they steal a comparable amount of money and they carry it out in 6 duffel bags?
Yeah.
In this movie, there's a point where he's like, there's 40 bags here.
But I did like I said, like maybe it's bigger bills in Ocean's 11 where it's like whatever $1,000 bills or something.
I don't think it is. I think that $250 million is a shit ton of it's a shitload of money.
Yeah.
And like I love that aspect, and I love the problem solving aspect of it. And I don't know, it's just so fun to watch like everything kind of like every step along the way is like
this elephant.
Oh shit. And it's like, oh good, oh fuck. Like it's I don't know, I really love that about this movie. Yeah.
And it's all down to just the sheer volume of it.
Yeah.
That is the big problem. It's not that people want to steal it from them. It's not that they're gonna,
yeah, it's like a logistical nightmare to do this. And
it's a project manager film.
Yeah. But there are points where you're just kind of like, that doesn't look like 40 bags.
Oh, dude. Yeah, because remember when it falls off the mountain into the valley and it's the huge heap.
The donkey?
The bags of money. The plane crashes. All the money's on the floor.
Yeah.
And it's like 40 bags.
It's huge. Yeah. He at one point I believe he does say 40 or 50 bags of money are here.
Yikes.
But yeah, it's like it's
between 5 guys.
And even like the element of like Pedro Pascal weighs all of the money and he like they don't even know how much it is, but he's like, if I'm guessing from the weight of just the sheer amount of money, it's around $250 million.
But I have a question for you.
What?
What's heavier? A kilogram of steel? Or a kilogram of feathers?
It's none of your business.
God damn it.
Get out of here.
He'd be so proud.
He would.
Do you think the movie would have like gotten from 70% rating to like 80% rating or more if it just got a little bit more philosophical about the money itself? And I say this because there's moments where it feels like a fucking gag reel when like a mule carrying the money just falls off a cliff and then all the money just goes flying into the valley across the mountains. And then there's another part where they're literally burning
just like
mountains of cash just to stay warm.
Yeah.
If they just leaned into that type of conversation about money, or how they kind of come around it, that could have been like a better boost.
I think so. I think this movie, it's got Heat-esque elements in that it's about these people with like this specific set of skills, whereas in Heat they're kind of like career criminals who are really good at things, and these guys are like career soldiers. And they do touch that. I think they touch interesting thematic elements, like when the line Oscar Isaac says to Ben Affleck when he's like you've been shot 5 times for your country and you can't even afford a new truck. He's like, that's the real tragedy. And I think that I love the opening scene when Charlie Hunnam is like talking about PTSD and how he choked the guy in the parking lot because he wouldn't move his cart and things like that. Like, I think that stuff is so interesting because he's giving kind of like a pep talk about what it's like to be a soldier to all these soldiers, but he's also like, but you can also really fuck you up. Like, you can fuck up your whole life basically, but you should be proud to be an American soldier. And I like that kind of like juxtapositional irony of what he's talking about. And they kind of get at that stuff, like more philosophical ideas. Like what you said is like, can this money heal them as people? And it's like, not really. And they
don't need this much of it.
And certainly greed can't heal people. Much like it reminded me, I thought a lot about The Counselor when I was like, the fact that like greed just like changes people in that moment, the way it changes Ben Affleck, and the way that I think that they're singing his praises the whole time, being like, this guy's the ultimate planner. He will get us in and out. He's the captain. He's the leader. And when he's tearing the money out of the wall and he's like, I gave us a 15-minute cushion. And you're kind of like, no, you didn't. I don't think you did. I think you're just fucked up. I think you go full tilt at the poker table and, they don't have enough time to really dig into that philosophical meat. I agree. Yes.
Can I ask you a side question?
No. Go on. Yeah.
Absolutely not. Yeah. What is the least amount of money that would change your life? If you had to like, I found a fucking bunch of cash in the walls.
Change my life?
Yeah. What is the least amount of money?
Like $50,000 maybe.
Right? I'd say about like that kind of amount.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be anywhere near $1 million. I don't think I would.
I can't even conceive of $1 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, because then if someone's like, like 750,000 is not good enough for you, I was like, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
I'll take that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, how far low would I go down till I'm like, I think I would be happy just to have 50 grand.
Yeah, like 50,000 would like change my life in a minor way.
Yeah.
And then like 100,000 would be like a massive windfall in my life, basically. Yeah. Like, I would be like, wow, this is like a shitload of money that you could actually make do something.
Totally.
Right? But like, like 10 grand. No, that's too small.
No.
Like for where I'm at now.
That's just like 3 months rent in this fucking city.
But like a million.
Yeah.
A million, if you're thinking of like big life choices, right? It's like you could use that to like buy a house or like buy an apartment or something, right? And then the rest, it's like you'd probably do what you would do with any lump sum of money and invest a part of it and then spend a part of it.
Yeah.
But even $1 million, depending on how much you would end up spending, it's like, I mean, could give 100,000 away to my family.
Exactly.
I could be like, I could say to give to my brother, give it to my parents, give like 50,000 each and be like, use this to do whatever you want.
Just hang out.
Because like, what is like at that point, 100,000 it's only 10% of what you have.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it seems like so much, but then I don't know, wait till I get $1 million and then don't come asking me for money.
Like,
this will not go on the record. I am not saying that. I am not. There's no guarantees. All right, I promise.
I am buck wild.
I'm taking it by case basis.
Look, we're gonna buy $100,000 worth of ads for this pod. That's how. That's a
better time. That's a better use spending of our money.
Everyone should suffer when they listen.
Sorry, I can't talk because I'm super tired because I'm a high performance athlete. But
So what I'm getting to is $1 million for someone who's like, let's say we're gonna be pretty close to Oscar Isaac's age.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like they have large families or anything to deal with.
Ben Affleck has the family.
He's got the kid and the wife.
But even still, like, they end up getting $5 million at the end.
But they walk out with 250 million.
That's the thing. I think, yeah. Are you getting at the fact that it's crazy that he goes so full tilt to get all this money?
They can't reconcile $50 million in their life and like, I don't think that's quite enough. I got to keep going and getting more.
Yeah.
And then the audacity to be like, Jeff Bezos, why are you so greedy? He is triple frontiering. He frontiered too hard.
He triple frontiers like every day, basically.
God.
It is like crazy when you think, like even it's so wild to be like, if you had $250 million, it's so impossible to even understand how much money that is in a practical sense. And then like you're not even among the most elite wealthy people who are wealthy, you know.
Oh, because those wealthy people could fund like the GDP of a small nation.
Yeah. And it's just so insane. It's an insane prospect because I think the greater insanity is like people who are like, I wish I had 500 million.
Yeah.
250 bullshit. I can't get anything. It's like, I wish I had a bigger yacht.
It's because then their yacht won't compare to like Tim Yacht's yacht and president of
Mr. Yacht himself.
Mr. Yacht himself is going to have a bigger yacht. And it's going to ruin his day.
There is no doubt that Mr. Yacht has the best yacht on Earth. If he didn't, that would be crazy.
What a waste.
But I'm sure Elon Musk will find a way to be like, my electric powered shit yacht is better than yours. It's powered
Cyber
by Dogecoin or some fucking bullshit. Anyway, it is so funny. Yeah. And that's what like Ben Affleck says though. He's like, make no mistake that like we're committing a crime. You can't go back to a normal life after this.
Yeah.
And it is kind of like, you just go forward to a better one.
Seriously.
You know? It's like so much money. You wouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You could just put it in a bank in some way and just get interest and or figure out some way to you'd never have to work really. Unless you were just like an absurd spender, like fucking Johnny Depp or whatever.
And if you have a family, like for generations, they don't have to work. They're sorted. You're sorted.
Is it, like, okay, it's so wild. So like $1 million is like you could, I think conceivably as a couple who want stuff, like I said, a house, whatever, you could give it some to your family, pay off some debt, things like that. You could conceive of yourself spending, I don't mean just like wasting it.
Yeah. You
could conceive of yourself spending $1 million or moving it around into different types of assets that would help you in your life. Mm-hmm. And you'd be comfortable if you were smart, you know?
Oh, for like 10 years solid. It would take 10 years to spend that money, I think.
It depends. I think it depends, right? Yeah. But even 5 million. That's almost generational too, because it's like, how could if we had kids, which we don't, but it's like if we had children, it's like they could inherit like a couple mil, and that money would just kind of keep growing as long as we kept working and like, you know.
Dipshit.
It's so
I would never.
It's so wild because I know I have known at least a person like that, and they're just fucking knobs. Like
that is usually the case.
They're just normal shithead people, and you're just kind of like, you should be better. Wealth should make you better, and you're just a twat.
I would say like monetary woes or even like thinking about money does take up, let's say, 50% of your mental power, right? Yeah. And like day to day, every thought is like somewhat attached to money. Food,
well, I think a lot about exercising because I'm a high performance athlete.
Every time you count a mileage, you're like, how much money is this? Did I run $40?
Yeah, I think of it like a psychopath TED Talk guy. Yeah.
I ran about $200.
How much money am I spending doing this? Yeah.
Yeah. but for someone who's born into wealth, obviously they don't have to think about that. So then their brain has so much more room.
Yeah, but you'd hope they'd think about how to solve their mental health problems, but they don't. They're just like, I have $1 million. What could be wrong with me?
It's not a problem. Yeah. They're just a survivor.
Yeah, true. Yeah. It makes no sense, right, in this film. And then the funny thing is like at the end of it, they collectively come out with 5 million.
Yeah. And I think that's where I lose a bit of interest in the movie is when it becomes too sincere that shit where it's like, we're going to carry this body off the hill and leave money.
That's a soldier thing though. They wouldn't leave him behind.
True.
Okay. That's a very, and fair. Also they all start to see the folly of what they're doing, which is like crazy. But you know what? They achieved a lot in a small short window of time. Yeah. No, but like, the the good thing of this movie, it does really come down to like, it's like money or death. And you can't do anything with death because you'd be dead. So you could take some money, take your friend's body, and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Right. And then I do love the ending. I like that at the end how Charlie Hunnam is like, go get that money if you wanted, which would be funny if Oscar Isaac went and got it and then didn't give any to Charlie Hunnam.
Perfect.
And Charlie Hunnam would be like, hey man, I kind of thought you'd give me a couple mil.
I think he'll be pretty like a cool customer about it. He'd be like, yeah, all right, I guess.
Charlie Hunnam is dope in this. I really like him actually. His accent work is not great, but I really like him in this movie, and I like that he's like the cool, calm, collected guy, even after getting shot in the side, like right away.
He reminds me of like a few people we know in real life who are just cool customers.
Yeah, they are
so
not
chill.
Wealthy though.
No, but I think that's
why
what helps.
They have healthy mental.
That's why they're good people.
Capacities. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's. And I do like I love the end when they sign away the money because it's so obvious that like Charlie Hunnam is not that interested in it, especially in the face of like life or death.
Yeah.
But also you're just kind of like, I mean, I touched 50 million. What is 1 million each? Yeah.
I didn't even like the guy.
Who?
Ben Affleck. Not me, like I just mean as a soldier. So many of them are like, we'll work with him.
You're saying you're a soldier.
If me as a soldier.
I just want to say you're treading into stolen valor territory, even more than me being a high performance athlete.
Because, oh my God, you with your athleticism, get the fuck out of here. All this trouble, and they walk away with whatever small amount of money they're left with, and then they sign it over to Ben Affleck's family.
Yeah.
Didn't buy it.
No?
To me, it's like, you did the job bringing his body down. That was the cost of your labor. You left behind money to bring his body.
That's very selfish of you.
What? They brought us. First of all, logistically, since they're a big fan of carrying weight, lose some, bro. Like,
I think they all lost like 30 pounds.
I just mean like the body, like it's done. What are you gonna? It's so. That's what I meant by like the kind of sappy quality of it. Which, to your point, it's like it's a soldier thing. You got to do it.
I think that if Ben Affleck got shot in the neck and not the head, and he had a moment, he would probably be like, "Leave my body here."
Yeah.
Like I mean, I think I would too. Like if a group of my friends were like, we can carry your body and maybe die, or maybe not die less, and not carry your body, I'd be like, leave my body, just leave it here. I don't care what happens to it when I die.
I'm dead.
Now.
Yeah.
I might die tomorrow or in a couple hours,
and you can be sure I will leave your body.
You can just leave me where I lie. It's like, but like I don't know. I like that quality, but it's because I have a big, beautiful heart.
Yeah, and I hate it. Disgusting. Lose some heart weight.
No,
just in there.
I didn't want to.
It's so huge. But yeah, anyway, I think because it started off so cutthroat and so like at the edge of your seat stuff, and you're pretty sure there's not going to be a happy ending for any of them, but they all make it out of it almost.
Pretty much, yeah. It starts off as like a movie that's like men will do anything. They'll rob a drug lord instead of going to therapy kind of. It's literally that premise.
Which seconded. I mean, do that shit. Love it.
Do you want to talk about the plot?
Let's get into it.
I'm going to do it straight off the top because I remember it very well.
Perfect.
So we start with Charlie Hunnam. He's a kind of a retired soldier. He's giving talks to other soldiers being like, PTSD sucks, but also you should feel proud to be an American soldier, which is totally cool. The American military has never done anything wrong as far as I know, so that's totally fine. Cut to in Colombia, I believe. Oscar Isaac is embedded with the police in Colombia. They're going after this drug lord.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask a question about this scene. There's a big shootout. It's great. Metallica, Adria Arjona. Mm-hmm. It's all good. Is the cop, Diego, the main guy, is he on Lorea's payroll? Lorea
seems like
is the drug lord. Because the guy says something about him, and then the one guy is like, you just got yourself fucking killed. Yeah. And then the cop is like, does anyone want to tell any more fairy tales about Mr. Lorea?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is he on that? And I think that he is, which is why Oscar Isaac doesn't want to give him the information he ends up getting from Adria Arjona about where Lorea is.
Right.
That was clear.
It's like pretty
it's subtle.
It's pretty on brand for movies that are about cops who are in business with the cartel.
Yeah.
And so It's like not far off from assuming that might be the case.
I don't want to offend people who live in countries with big cartel presences, but it's pretty on brand for countries like that. I think that they're corrupt, but not everybody.
Because
not
it's
every
either that or you face death at the hands of the cartel. Because the cartel is go big or go home. They don't fuck with that.
The scope of like the cartel in like Mexico, for example, when you read about some of that stuff, we talked about like 000, that TV show, right? Now I've read the book that's based on, which is a nonfiction book. It's really interesting. But when you read about like the scope that the cartel actually has, like you're just like, whoa. It's terrifying. It is like a military force inside of Mexico. Like, that is bigger than the military. It's, they're more powerful. It's so wild,
And like the bleakness of the movie The Counselor.
Yeah.
Where the cartel is omnipotent.
But that's like even a small portion of it, right? Like we don't see it, like we're not even in the States, we're in Canada, but like the reach of the cartel is one thing, but the way they operate within those countries and the way they're so embedded in certain areas of their life is like, it's really shocking and it's really disturbing. But then it is also because like if you work in a certain thing, they're just like, all right, well, we own this farm now. Yep. Do you want to die? No. Okay, cool. But then we'll pay you a little money for this stuff, and we'll just oversee everything.
Of the goodness of our hearts.
Yeah, and the same with that cop, where it's probably like, would you like to die, or would you like to keep being a corrupt cop?
Exactly.
So Oscar Isaac returns to America, finds Ben Affleck and Charlie Hunnam, Garrett Hedlund, Pedro Pascal, and he's like, get the gang back together. I know this guy in the jungle. He's got a bunch of money. I want to kill him because he's fucking up the country. And I want to steal his money, but I also want to kill him, basically. And he's like, I got a source on the inside. If you guys come down and help me recon this place, you don't have to stay, but I'll pay you some money to do that.
Yeah.
And then I will get the other guys to come help me do it. Oscar Isaac gets them down there to the Triple Frontier area of South America.
The first frontier.
Which is down, it's like Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina or something like that. This is all filmed in Hawaii, though.
Holy shit.
It looks beautiful.
So much of it is like so scenic.
JC Chandor is a fucking awesome director.
Beautiful.
He is seriously like just a great fucking director. And he's got like, it's so crazy. Like he made Margin Call, which I love. And Margin Call is like one of the most, it's like fucking smoking crack for me. I just can't stop watching it.
Dude, it's funny you say that because I had the exact same reaction for the first couple times I watched Margin Call. And then I watched it very recently, like a month ago.
Yeah.
And it just felt like so much was missing. And I felt like...
Oh, I disagree. I love that movie.
It like flipped for me. And I don't know what it is about it.
I know what it is. Stanley Tucci's only in the first scene. And then he's gone.
You need more Tucci.
He needs more Tucci.
You do need more Tucci.
And also you're a big proponent of Kevin Spacey. You've always said he's a great actor.
I love that Pete Holmes likes to say scandal noted every time Kevin Spacey's name comes up.
The shameful thing about that movie is that Kevin Spacey is so fucking good in it.
Well, that's his whole thing.
He's being a good actor?
Being a good actor. He's like, I'm good, so I will do crime now.
For a while, it was his whole thing. And then part of his thing became sexual abuse.
He's an emotional and physical cartel of a human being.
So anyway, and then so he makes Margin Call, which is amazing. He makes A Most Violent Year, which I think is like a good fucking film. Like
I'm yet to see it.
Oh, it's so good. And some people don't like it, and I get that, but it's very like, it's a totally different, it's like a movie from the 70s. It's got a lot of French Connection vibe to it, but it's specific. And that's what I like about Chandor is like, he's specific. He seems very like, Margin Call is one talky kind of thing in an office.
At one event.
A Most Violent Year is another thing. And this movie is a whole other thing than that. Now, I will say Kraven the Hunter looks more like Triple Frontier than it does like Margin Call.
Yeah.
That's okay, though, because I like Triple Frontier, so it's cool. Also, Alessandro Nivola. Need to say more?
Hey.
I'm not going to. So they head down there. They do the recce, and it turns out Oscar Isaac was like, I actually wanted you guys to do this heist with me all along.
Yeah.
They get angry for a minute, and then he's like, come on. And they're like, all right, cool. They do the heist. The heist scene is fantastic. The whole fucking thing is great. It's
terrifying.
Long, and it's like I think it's so good.
It's like a horror movie. It's like a Haunting on Hill House kind of, because it is. They've learned that it's going to be an empty house. They've learned that there's only a couple of guys you got to take out. The boss man's at church with his family, so we're going to be in and out 5 minutes. They get in there.
And they don't want to kill anyone.
And they don't want to kill anyone because they're
Larea.
good dudes.
Only Larea.
So they go in there and it's like right in the middle of the woods and they're trying to find the money because it's supposed to be a safe house. Turns out the house is the safe.
That's what Arjona says, yeah.
And then they start tearing down the walls and you have like a moment of like, okay, good, they got it.
It's everywhere, yeah.
It's everywhere. They're going to take that money. And then the most horrific thing happens is Ben Affleck shows his real self.
Yeah, he becomes like the devil, basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then they stay too long bringing the money. That's problem A.
Because he got so
greedy.
greedy.
And then a bunch of the fellas, the cartel members return. They load the money. They kill all of them. They kill everyone in the house. They find Larea too in a hidden room and kill him.
Yep.
Then they drive away.
But
just
even
before
the
family gets there, which is tense. Yeah.
The two cars are driving past each other and they make eye contact and it's raining so hard and they have like $250 million in the back of their van.
I love the way like in this movie, certainly in the first half, like the way the camera is just like always moving and has like such a specific kind of way that it moves often and it doesn't stay still, which is another way of saying it's moving, and I'm just kind of bantering here, but like
it's like poetic the way
it feels very like controlled and like in that when they pass the cars, for example, it shows Oscar Isaac passing and then it cuts into the window of the car and it shows the kid, but it doesn't show his face. It just shows from behind the kid looking out the window at Oscar Isaac as he passes. And like, it's just so cool. Like I really love the way it's shot. It's very beautiful. And I love the whole sequence when they're planning and then they take the house. It's just green. Yeah. It's all green. Beautiful. The whole time.
So
it's like
lush.
So cool. And then, so they get out of there. They go find their helicopter. This is when things start to get real cool. Adria Arjona gets evacuated to
Sydney,
Australia. She makes the most money. She gets like $2.5 million or whatever.
$3 million for her and her brother.
$3 million, yeah.
Easy.
That's why Oscar Isaac goes to see her. He's like, I need some money now.
I need a baby mama.
So
over there.
They get the heavyweight helicopter.
Yeah.
I saw someone complain about this on Reddit, and I was like, why didn't you like pay attention to what was happening?
What did he complain
about? They were like, why did they load up so much weight on a helicopter when it's not big enough? And I was like, they didn't know they were going to have that much money. That's why. That's literally the reason they said. They were like, they thought they were going to have like less than 100 million, and they had 250 million.
Come on.
This is the same person who was like, they completely missed the ending where he gave them the coordinates. He was like, why didn't someone write it? And it's definitely a he. Why didn't someone write down where it was so they come back later? And some responder was like, that's literally the final scene. A dude wrote it down.
This is the type of guy who's like, just stop being poor. Yeah. Why didn't you just stop it?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Why did they want so much money?
Okay. Relax, Paris Hilton.
Yeah. That's the type of person like us who becomes like a real hardcore film critic, but they're just missing, like blatantly missing shit. So good, yeah.
We're just distracted by Daddy Isaac, that's all.
Yeah, if they would just take off their fucking shirts more.
God damn
Anyway, so they get the helicopter, they load it all up into a bag on the bottom, and Pedro Pascal is like, it doesn't look good, but I can try. So we'll try and pop it over the Andes, which are real big.
Oh, God.
I've been down South America way, and those fuckers are huge. The biggest mountains I've ever seen.
Another fucking stellar scenic moment.
This
where
is
it just
actually,
goes on for a
I
bit.
think this is my favorite scene in the film with the helicopter.
When they fly over.
I think it's awesome. I think it's so good, because like when I first saw it, and like, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that would make, like, I guess the air would get thinner and you wouldn't be able to lift as, like, and I love the way Pedro describes it and stuff, and he's like we're going up to 6,000 feet or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like at 2,000 feet. Yes, I can carry all of this.
Yeah.
6,000, I can't carry all of this. And then they're just like, could you try? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then I love that they can't get over over the hump of the mountains. They have to crash land.
Yeah.
And I love that there's like Pedro's like calm, just like, this isn't good. And then they're like spinning out. He's like, bad landing.
Does he say it?
He says that. He's like, bad landing.
Good.
And then, They get to a Cocaína village in the mountains, basically.
So beautiful.
God
damn
it's
it.
beautiful, and they shoot a couple people too.
Yeah.
They negotiate for some donkeys. They spend a bunch of money.
Sorry, they're mules.
Excuse me, mules. I don't mean to insult all the donkeys and mules listening, but yeah, excuse me. And a young boy from the village kind of is unhappy that they, murdered his dad or family or whatever, which is, not a cool thing to do as far as I'm concerned. Call me unpatriotic, but so they take off out to the jungle and up the mountain with the mules. They kind of get over to the other side. They lose one mule on the way.
And they lose the mule, dude.
If it had been a donkey,
it'd be even funnier.
I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
What?
Just the way Shrek, don't.
Yeah.
It's the way. I don't know. I couldn't help but laugh at it, and that's just.
Well, so does one of the other guys, and then Oscar Isaac yells at him.
Yeah, because the way it's so comical, the way they're at the edge of a cliff and they got 40 bags on a donkey mule.
I don't think violence against animals is very funny at all.
It's not, but just the way they chose to do it.
You like killing animals, is what you're saying.
God,
you appreciate their death on screen.
Jesus.
Right.
Only one
Maybe
kind of
you
animal.
Should join the military.
Man. Only man. No, but it was so tragic that the immediate reaction was oh God, it's dead. But also, I think very beautifully the money that just rips off the bags and just floats into the air.
Yeah.
What is that, 10 million right there?
I could use a couple bucks from that bag.
Fuck, dude.
But so they kind of make it over the other side of the Andes, and they're headed down to the beach, Chile, I guess.
Hanging out.
Chile or Peru or whatever the fuck. And I don't know how many. There's 2 countries down there. South America.
You've been there, god damn it.
I love how I'm in North America, and I'm there's 2 countries down there, and we actually have 2 countries.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we're a couple of fucking idiots, but yeah.
You're cultured, you're well traveled,
and
you've
a
been
high performance athlete. I have been to Chile.
Hell yeah.
Chile's beautiful. Very cool. That's where I saw the Andes, and I was I was in Santiago. The smog cleared, and I was those are big mountains.
That's when you
El
were
Mountanos Bigos. And people were who is this fucking guy?
Get him out of here. You'll never be able to carry that money over it.
Yeah. Wow. El Mountains Sono Large.
Sono? Italian? What the fuck?
That's the one I speak, so I do my best.
Away.
Then they're followed by a couple of the people from the village. Ben Affleck gets shot right in his dumb face.
Okay.
And gets died.
I have to say,
dies to death.
The way I yelped, yeah, when Ben Affleck gets shot in the face.
Yeah.
Only for the reason that they're all here because of him, obviously.
Yeah.
Every single crash landing has been caused by him single-handedly. And when
the one-man
dies,
wrecking crew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when Affleck gets shot in the face by the kid, and obviously the kid dies as well, you would think the movie is basically over now and it's just going to be happy ending from here on. Because I was well, nothing can go wrong now.
Right.
And almost nothing does. It's only good news from here on out.
It's pretty smooth sailing after this. They don't even have to murder the teenagers at the beach, basically. Yeah, they take his body. They throw all of the bags into a ravine and are just this is
beautiful.
I guess this is where it will live and forever, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Hunnam, who writes everything down, keeps track of everything. That's his character trait. It's his thing. He surreptitiously. You know what I thought? Maybe I'm too fucking Hollywood for this, but I was he should have written it down on a piece of money, on one piece of single money, and then given it to Oscar Isaac. Been here's shit. I kept this $100 bill, and it's got the coordinates on it. But whatever.
Oh, that is nice.
I know, but this is why I should be a writer director of Red One and not good movies,
Red One, rated 3 by IGN.
I think I can have a successful career producing a bunch of Fast and the Furious films because I have that sensibility. But if someone wanted me to work on something good, they'd be you're fired before you haven't even hired me yet.
Come on, give me a shot.
Give me a try. They're no, you're pre-fired. And they make it down to the beach with some money. They get out into a boat. I do like the little chase scene at the end. I think it's beautifully filmed. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And they get on the boat. They get back to that little town they were in. And then they sign away the money to the trust that is for
Ben
Red
Affleck's
Fly's
kid.
family. Mm-hmm. And then they all kind of part ways back to the United American States, or to Australia in Oscar Isaac's case. And Hunnam gives him the
coordinates
for the money and says, maybe you can do something good with it one day. And what he's going to do is he's going to go to Sydney and buy that fucking opera house. And he's going to start his own opera.
He's going to become the director of Triple Frontier 2. And that's where it's
Do you kind of want them to make one?
Yeah, dude.
You know,
go get the money.
I think Sicario is like a masterpiece, right? Mm-hmm. Sicario is like a movie it's like a simple film done by a very artistic filmmaker who made it into this unbelievably good film.
Yeah.
And Sicario 2 is like, I'm just going to slam my dick on the table and just go crazy. Sicario 2 is not as good as Sicario 1,
dumb.
But it's fun as hell.
Yeah.
It is like, it is one of the most fun movies I've seen at the cinema.
Totally.
And I will say, for everyone, go watch the trailer for Sicario 2 and tell me that doesn't like engage the 15-year-old boy in your brain being like, hell fucking yeah. And Triple Frontier 2 could be like that.
It does, yeah. I wish I had seen it on a big screen.
You don't need Chandor back. Just get a capable director. Maybe the dude who's doing Red 1 right now.
Get Ridley Scott. He would turn it into the counselor of Triple Frontier.
Yeah.
He would turn it into Shakespeare, but make it cartel.
But like you don't need Chandor back. You don't need a big director. Just someone. And just get like, you don't even need the guys back. Just Oscar Isaac. Just do it. Just CGI 5 Oscar Isaacs. Netflix. Netflix, if you could do something good with your fucking life.
Because Pedro Pascal's busy with
being in literally every film and television series. Alive? Yeah.
He's out there gladiating, so he's unavailable. Sorry, Pascal.
Yeah. Anyway, I really like this movie.
Smashed it.
It's underappreciated.
Yeah. I agree. And both times that I watched it, I was like, this is fucking great.
It's, you know what, like you said, it has some qualitative problems at the end, but it is like, especially if you're just like a constant Netflix user, sometimes you're just like, this is one that stays on my list.
Yeah.
And I just watch it every, twice a year because I'm like, fuck, this movie's dope.
Because like the start of this film is the same way Rebel Ridge made me feel. It was like, holy shit, this is going to go somewhere unexpected.
These like mid-tier crime drama thing. Like there's some really good ones, and I really like those types of movies. Probably because I'm a white dude in my 30s, but
he's just like camo and hats, baby.
Yeah, like I don't know.
What's the Matt Damon one? Is Stillwater?
Stillwater. I love Stillwater.
Yeah.
Stillwater fucking rules.
All these movies could have the same cover, and I would not know which is which.
Like the ones that maybe it's something about being a guy, but like something about like the broken man not dealing with his feelings.
Yeah.
But also being like, this guy just needs a hug.
Yeah,
too.
man.
Like I do like that a lot, and I like those kind of thematic things. And like Heat is like the ultimate version of that. Oh. But there's so many other good ones. But I do like that mid-level, that mid-budget crime or kind of like military police.
File it under the genre of dudes being fellas.
But
military fellas.
Yeah. Sort of. They're like better than The Town is a good example too, right?
Yes. Okay.
They're kind of better than like the Liam Neeson. No offense to Neeson,
course.
Don't come taking me. Like better than and what's his face from 300?
Butler.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Like they're a little higher quality than those,
Definitely.
But they're also not like $150 million, $200 million huge blockbusters like The Fall Guy or something,
right.
Which is different. But they're not like that. They're like these like 70 to 100 million.
And they get the right amount of rating for it.
Yeah.
It's a solid 7 out of 10.
Sicario, for many reasons, including like the incredible performance by Emily Blunt, is like an elevated version of it.
Absolutely.
Heat is an elevated version of it. Mm-hmm. This movie is like right in the fucking middle of it.
I think if you get Javier Bardem in anything, it can't be like middling. It's always just some...
But only if he dresses just like he does in The Counselor.
If he's dressed head to toe in Versace Gucci, then it's like, all right, now we're talking.
Yeah, and then he has a girlfriend who rapes his car. Yeah.
It's an acquired taste.
Doesn't even happen in this movie. It's so disappointing. But like I was saying, like Sicario and Heat are like elevated versions of it. Sicario 2 and this and Rebel Ridge are kind of like, and what did that the guy who made Rebel Ridge also made the Wolf one. with Alexander Skarsgård.
Hold the Dark.
Hold the Dark.
Yeah.
Another version of that.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I love this genre.
I feel like Hold the Dark and Skeleton Man are the same
The
type
Empty
of
Man.
film for me. Empty Man,
Empty Man.
sorry.
Yeah.
The Empty Man.
Well, they do both have what's his face.
They do
from
have the same guy.
The Departed, yeah.
But it has the same vibe too.
But the Empty Man has like supernatural elements.
Yes,
Because
but like
if you recall, there's a man and he's empty in that film.
And he's a bag of bones. Spooky.
Empty
but
Man
for your heart.
The Empty Man skeleton. Yeah. Yeah.
Trouble Frontier, baby.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I might actually go throw it on right now.
It's on fucking Netflix. Just watch it.
So good. Highly recommend
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for listening to us yammer on. I have to go do some more high performance athletics. You have to go back to your job.
This has been the high ceiling for once.
The highest ceiling we've ever reached. It's the helicopter crash of our podcast. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Bye.